I think this game needs no introductions really. STALKER Shadow of Chernobyl. Oh, what do you know, I introduced the game. It's an icon, leaving a great legacy behind, besides many dead stalkers and lingering radiation poisoning. It has many memorable lines that will echo through eternity, and it is one of the few titles that blends several gameplay elements together near flawlessly and without compromising one element over the other. Those elements, of course, being light role-playing mechanics with stats and reputation management, survival horror with some scary monsters to get jumped by, and watching your inventory and health. Oh, and it's tactical shooting. More grounded than recent shooters, with some business simulation on the side. What started off as a sci-fi shooter known as Stalker Oblivion Lost far back in 2000. The game was an entirely different beast, a futuristic shooter with a mixture of autonomous robots, real-world helicopters, vehicles and weapons, and a weird set of locations ranging from Aztec temples, green forests to high-tech facilities. Even one of the main characters, Jeffrey the Space Marine, is wearing something that would become the Special Forces armor, but being a small independent studio at the time, GSC Game World was forced to delay the game to the point of being vaporware. But over the years, from 2002 until the big break in 2005, changes would occur. Levels would morph into something familiar, if lessened in scale. Armors would take a more recognisable shape, and the aesthetic would change considerably. The heavy sci-fi aesthetic was dropped in favour of the more familiar post-Soviet horror hellscape we all love and loathe. Then add in the clear inspirations from the Strugatsky brothers' 1971 book Roadside Picnic and Andrei Tarkovsky's 1979 film Stalker, with the anomalies, the stalkers and the artifacts, and slightly less of the philosophy. But the cherry on top is setting the game in the Chernobyl exclusion zone, probably one of the most morbidly fascinating places on Earth, and adding twisted pseudoscience over aliens. So now, with the radiation to contend with, you now have anomalous fuck-ups and twisted anomalies. Then, finally, in 2005, desiring to see the game released by the fiscal year 2007, THQ would become the game's publisher. But that too would be missed by 2 years, with more features being cut for later use to avoid development hell, before finally going gold on March 23rd, 2007 for Windows PCs. And looking at the review scores on Steam and GOG, yeah, it's fucking adored, worshipped, praised, even preserved for future generations thanks to the GOG preservation program. And because of this success and the release of the much anticipated Stalker 2 after what seemed like forever, was released on modern consoles as the Legends of the Zone collection, and the Warlord himself loves this series. Quick spoiler. When I first saw it all those years ago, it was like nothing I'd ever played at the time. It was my first horror-ish game that did unnerve me a few times, but more obviously was it that it introduced me to the modding scene, with Oblivion Lost 3.1 being the first mod I ever successfully installed. Made me feel like a tech wizard, and the game got me interested into the history of Chernobyl and Ukraine as well. Also, does anyone remember the front cover as well? Quick question. Who the hell is this concrete man? Seriously, let me know, because it's always baffled me what the hell this thing is. Anyways, getting back on track, with the release of Stalker 2 and interest in Stalker reaching new heights, I feel like it's time for the Warlord to stake his claim in this irradiated wonderland. And having played Shadow of Chernobyl with mods for so long, it'd be interesting to go back to the vanilla version of the game, or version 1.6. And before the Warlord starts, he needs to mention that this review style is going to be a little bit different than usual. So many things happened here that they need to be mentioned, but there is a lot to talk about, story and mechanics wise, as well as observations from yours truly. Hope my subjects are ready for a feature-length broadcast, so shut the fuck up, relax, and grab a cold one, of something I don't care. Let's proceed and see a post-firefight zone snuggle. Remember, look before you loot or you get jumped, like what happened to me. And finally, see some of the horrors of the zone, from delayed exploding pigs, zombification, and spaghettification. Now, it's time to enter the man-made hell. It all begins with a true tone setter, a lone truck driving on a desolate road in a midnight storm. And the driver must be a nice fellow too, as he seems to be giving quite a few tired hitchhikers a They're dead. A death truck. Now even more dead as freak lightning strikes the vehicle, sending bodies a-flying. But a lone stalker would happen upon the wreck and rescue the incredibly lucky protagonist whom we control over the course of this adventure.
This one seems to be alive. What a lucky guy. At least death would have saved him from the dreams. Let's go and see what value Sidorovich will put on your head.
We'll take the marked one to good old Sidorovich. He's indulging in some chicken whilst Red waits patiently for his cue to enter the room.
A body. It came from the death truck. It's got the mark.
Well, you know the drill. Leave him on
This is a live one.
Bullshit! You are lying!
Let the zone take me if I am.
Put it here!
Ow!
I think, for this one, I can give you.
Awakening from attempted theft, we are left with good old trusty Sidorovich.
So, marked one, I saved you. And I'm not going to pretend I did it to win favors upstairs. You do some jobs for me, and we're even.
And you can get straight to your first mission or be given a quick tutorial. Being medically forgetful though, I chose to be treated like a rookie, for I remember shit.
This is your personal PDA. Tasks, buttons with a map. Stats, the encyclopedia. What?
Then he gives you the first quest to take part in.
Got a job for you, marked one. I want you to find a stalker called Nimble. He was carrying some very important information. He disappeared somewhere near the bridge. Find him. Dead or alive, I don't care. I need the flash drive with the info. Visit Wolf from the local camp and ask him. He certainly knows where that guy can be.
Wish him the best of luck, and you are going to need it.
Good hunting, stalker.
The marked one begins his journey to the zone. Welcome to the Cordon. Think of this place as the tutorial zone, because it is. The map is manageably large enough to be not confusing. Hostiles are far enough away to not be much of an issue, for now. And this is a place for new players to get to grips with the game's mechanics. After turning left and seeing a pig explode in mid-air,
Just think about it, man. Next time it could be you in this place.
you end up in the Rookie Village, the main stalker camp of the area. And here, you can mingle with your fellow stalkers. Ask for local gossip and rumours. Go into the basement of this house and get a free meal of 3 cans of Tourist Delight. And converse awkwardly in campfire conversations, and get stared at by that one odd guy.
Хорош уже, комик.
Barely equipped to fight your fellow stalker and armed with a shitty PM Makarov, you are finally sent off into the brutal world of the zone. A patrol helicopter spots and mocks us, and we encounter a wounded stalker close to a medkit. Steal it for yourself, or heal him? Of course I healed him. I may be a warlord, but I'm not an asshole. Even got a new friend thanks to the green text and a slightly better rep.
Thank you, Marked One. You're okay, you know that? I'll be sure to tell everyone at the camp that you helped me out.
After that little episode, we meet up with Petrusha and his team.
Pipe down, man.
They move into the stalker camp and give them some frontier justice. And for a while, when I was playing this was the trial by fire and the first indicator that the game's combat was a completely different beast compared to everything else I had played at the time. The combat is more tactical. No running and gunning, with every engagement feeling grounded with flanking, suppressing fire and peeking around corners, with every movement being considered to enhance your chances of survival, especially with limited medical supplies, especially at the moment, and always being aware of your surroundings. But the battle is won, though we took a casualty and our 3/4 dead. But the bandits are dead, and Nimble is rescued with a small package in hand.
I owe you, brother. I could never thank you enough.
The job is done. Get paid in an artifact by Wolf, and Sidorovich gives the Marked One an important quest that will take him to the center of the zone.
So you're back. We're doing sort of an investigation with some other traders. We want to open up a path to the north, to the center of the zone. And near the center, something or someone is trying to hamper our progress. How the heck this Strelok managed to sneak through, I don't know. You see, There's this one area where your brain starts boiling. An eerie place. Anyway, to cut a long story short, a couple of guys have been spying on those grunts for me, not far from here. Apparently the ones at the Agroprom Research Institute have dug up something major. I'm positive it has something to do with the center of the zone. Anyway, whatever they've dug up, it's secured somewhere in the 3rd floor of the Institute. And we really need this stuff.
And almost immediately, you get the sense the zone hates your guts, and by visuals alone, it sets a great tone of establishing a bleak, near-post-apocalyptic tone. Utilising the in-house X-ray engine, the Chernobyl zone is fittingly desolate, crumbling and inhospitable. Not in post-nuclear war devastation, but more of the rot of abandonment. You'll see plenty of rust and ruins and rubble from after the disaster. Many of these can be explored during your adventures here, either for treasure or curiosity. Loot a body of the many stalkers out there and you might get a stash to find, always in some tucked away corner of the map, shown as this green icon on the PDA. Shadow of Chernobyl doesn't have one united map, but 10 smaller maps with a few stages having their own sub-maps as well. This is due to the changes and compromises prior to the 2007 release, and you'll see so as this broadcast continues. But despite all the horrors and anomalous formations, life, even if mutated and twisted or clinging on, remains. In the forever autumnal and drab landscape of the zone, running between the ruins, anomalies and stalkers, the many mutants inhabits the land, and in the cordon, blind dogs, heavily mutated pigs known as flesh, boars and pseudo-dogs would be the most common sight, but the further you go, the worse the mutants get. And with a zone so full of life and death, GSC's semi-legendary A-Life AI programming makes stalkers in-game levels a near-living, breathing world where randomness can alter some interactions in the zone for better or worse. Animal territories, feeding habits, herd migrations and interactions with fellow humans and other creatures will be a common sight. This became obvious when the Marked I approached the bridge, an unofficial second border to the zone, patrolled by the army. Approaching the guards, hoping for a bribe, boars suddenly attack. Another threat from the other side forced the guards' attention. This allows the Mark I to sneak through, not before taking all their bread and vodka of course, and after seeing an unusual tactical formation, we meet with Fox and saved him from blind dogs.
We're done with those mutants.
For this, he also gives me loads of money and also information about Mark I's direction. With that information, I get ambushed by bandits on the road, before an unseen pack of blind dogs brings them down. Parting ways with a mutual respect, approaching what remains of the death truck. You need to run quickly and gather the leftover medkits, and be quick because radiation will fucking kill you. And hopefully you get to heal yourself with either vodka or anti-red pills. And have one more fight at an old checkpoint with some bandits, and nick their bandages, new AK-74Us, ammo, and their sausages. All of this is needed for what is to come. Welcome to the garbage. Once a small industrial area, it became a radioactive graveyard for the many vehicles used during the cleanup of the original 1986 disaster. But with the formation of the new zone in 2006, not only is it a radioactive relic of the past, but is now a playground for artifact hunters, a main road to the center of the zone, and a battleground between the free stalkers, and up against them are the Gopnik barbarians, the Adidas despoilers and all-around assholes. Simply known as bandits to you and me. Here in the garbage, it's an all-out war. In fact, the next two maps, what you'll see might as well be described as a war zone. This is highlighted further when the Mark first enters the new map. Having been reduced to 3/4 dead, we rescued the guy. Yurik is his name, and now your best friend. A radio transmission plays out.
People, this is the commander of the neutral squad. We've kicked the bandits out of the derelict machinery scrapyard, expecting counterattack. We're low on numbers, so everyone's welcome to give us a helping hand.
Heeding the call, Yurik and the Marked I head for the machinery graveyard and meet the squad's stern leader, Bess. We join the fight with the neutral squad and take the fight to the inbound bandits in the old vehicle's scrapyard.
Coming! They're coming!
Everybody take your stand. Let them come close. They will be easier targets.
great victory. Given some cash for medical insurance, we part ways, brothers in arms. Within that time, I noticed one of the stronger elements of this game that amplifies the horror and action threefold. It's the soundscape. Under the artistic supervision of Vladimir Moose Frey, the soundscape of Shadow of Chernobyl is damned good considering where you listen. Ambience is top notch. And with this game being considered one of the most atmospheric games for years, there's a reason why. It's eerie, foreboding, tense, and melancholic in quieter moments, if there is any. The main menu sets the tone before you even enter the zone. Bleak, harrowing, yet after each death it just comes off as mocking. But nothing compares to the guitar campfire songs though. Wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, and whenever I hear those guitar strings getting strummed into song, I'm there.
Послушайте, мужики.
It's beautiful, it's human, and something only seen in Stalker, where four strangers sit around a campfire whilst one plays away in that silent few moments of peace from the chaos. The sound of the zone is also spectacular. At its calmest, it's natural yet feral, with nature at its worst. You'll hear the rustling of leaves on the autumnal wind, the barking of dogs, howling wolves, and the wind winding through the ruins. It's familiar and somewhat welcoming, for when the zone's influence is more commonplace, the soundscape becomes ethereal and haunting. Some sounds just make me freeze and look around in concern before legging it back to the nearest camp. And the sound of the firefights are visceral, high impact and loud, befitting the vicious, grounded gunplay in Stalker, made more so when the weapons begin leveling up with each progression. Each weapon gets progressively more deadly, and the sound really sells their destructive upgrades. Add that with the screaming, shouting and roars, and all that makes each firefight, even small skirmishes, frantic, tense, and oh so satisfying when you triumph. Head towards this old train depot, a radio broadcast begs for help.
Anyone who can hear me? We've been attacked by a gang of bandits. We need help. Brothers, help us, we're in deep shit. Bandits have gone mad. Is there anyone nearby, damn it? We're dead meat.
It's Siri, and a small band of stalkers are barely holding off a huge wave of gopniks. Use your firepower to alter the course of the battle.
The troop movement! Great job, boys.
Getting some compensation from Siri for saving his ass, he also gives the Marked One some info on the stray log. Our next destination is the Agroprom, but to get there, Marked One needs to pass a large grouping of bandits. Hide behind cover, lean around cover, aim for the head and hope you hit your targets, for aiming down guns in this game is like looking down a dot with near vision, and the bullets have a mind of their own when fired. But I win. And surely Agroprom isn't as bad as the garbage. It's worse here, a guy yelling at us for help up the road, helicopters spawning into existence, and a massive army raid at a nearby stalker camp in a nearby factory.
Guys, whoever can hear me, help! These scumbags are slaughtering us stalkers!
This is a tough fight. A vicious close quarters battle with many a stalker and soldier slain, with many blind corners and high risers that can be used by the army, and many grenades being thrown everywhere. It would take me 2 attempts before rescuing Mole. Gaining his thanks, He leads us to an entrance to an underground tunnel where the base of Strelok's team is located.
Phew. It's quiet here. We can wait for the raid to finish. Seri told me what you're looking for. It's underground around here somewhere, but I don't know exactly where. Be careful and good luck.
Parting ways, we go into the first of many underground locations. And holy shit, the atmosphere changes considerably and for the best. This game was praised for its atmosphere, and for good reasons of course. On the surface, it's brilliantly balanced with the level design and the sounds, but here in the underground levels, it is magnified threefold. Grey crumbling stone, the creaking of pipes, the squeaking lights spinning around, the howling wind, the sounds of abandonment and the decay made manifest. Now add the corruption of the zone and the added claustrophobia, these underground segments are scarier than the surface in my opinion, and you will be underground several times before this adventure ends. More bandits greet the marked one, most of them full, but one gets to him whilst looting a dead corpse. This time, kill them all before looting them all. Go down a set of stairs, then a new sound pierces your earballs. Bloodsuckers. Think the zone's equivalent of the Vampire, Mind Flayer, and Cthulhu rolled into one. Yet, despite the name, it tends to slap you to death, but it does turn invisible and can hit you from anywhere, so watch your back and fill it with lead. We find the base. Plenty of things can be found here within the bowels of these tunnels. Some AKs, including a rapid-fire AK-74, as highlighted by this green icon here, health kits, and behind a whiteboard, a USB drive confirming Fang is dead, one of the 3 members from Strelok's group. Oh, and a possessed table letting itself be known. Fighting through more army patrols, he reaches the ladder leading out into the Institute, but his vision goes clouded. The howling wind picks up and a roar emanates behind him. Controller, one of the more feared mutants in the zone. With its powerful psychic abilities, it can control the minds of the weaker willed creatures and zombify stalkers to their whim, but not in the game. In the game, it kind of overanimates its attack like it's in an anime, and it has a thing of just moving your camera slightly upwards. Really annoying, and it also eats your health. But Marked 1 has a gun, and peeking and shooting does more than enough to kill the controller. Back to the surface, right in the middle of the base. He tries to be sneaky. Never mind, we're gonna have to fight our way through this base. Yeah, the sneaky approach really isn't a thing in this game. Even though there is a visibility and sound gauge that can make sneaking a possibility, it's more useful in firefights for flanking attacks, whereas a pure stealth run really isn't possible. Fighting his way through to the briefcase, he grabs it and heads for the roof. Zadorovich, being a babe, gives Marked 1 some advice on where to go next.
Marked 1, I told Barkeep about you. He should talk to duty guys to let you through. I suggest you go see him fast.
Taking his obvious advice, sees a helicopter return to his home planet and bypasses an army blocking formation that doesn't really block the road. Back to the garbage, follow the road, and before the destination known as the 100 Rads Bar, Marked 1 passes a heavily militarized checkpoint manned by some serious soldier lookalikes, dressed in black and red. Despite that, they require help fighting a horde of boars. Yeah, boars. But after saying that he has business with the barkeep, they let him through for free. Good time to have a break. The Rostock plant. An oasis, a fortress within the zone, and the most famous place in the game, for all metagame reasons. After seeing a new anomaly that shall be named the Treadmill affecting 2 pseudo-dogs, we enter a ruined warehouse. And it happens.
Get out of here, Stalker.
We have a huge responsibility to protect the world from the expanding zone. Free Stalkers, veterans and hunters, join duty. Protecting the world
Get
from
out
the
of here,
zone's
Stalker.
evil is our common goal.
Get out of here, Stalker. Get out of here, Stalker. Get out of here, Stalker.
Gap? What gap? All I see is a building that says oh, bar! Sweet. But then it gets worse as you enter the 100 Rads Bar.
I said come in! Don't stand there!
A place to drown out radiation poisoning and PTSD damage, and to drown the constant noise for no one in this place shuts the fuck up.
How did I manage that?
How's it going?
I've always got something interesting for people like you.
Fucking hell. The footage on the TV, in fact the only thing on TV, is an early build of Stalker, build 1154, released in August 2002. Here at the bar, we give the documents to the barkeep, a very important individual you'll be working for from now on. And from this point onwards, finding Strela can open in the centre of the zone intertwine. From the documents, we know that the Brain Scorcher is blocking access to Pripyat and the Chernobyl power plant, seen by many as a treasure trove of rare artifacts. But the research into these science missions and the components needed to make the Scorcher are in two laboratories, in the Dark Valley and Yantar, named X18 and X16. With this information and rewarded some new armour, which is really damn cool compared to this bloody bandit coat, we decide to do something else for a while, at least for the time being. Rostock is the place to be to shop for weapons and medical supplies. You can also get some side quests here as well. It's the usual things, like killing someone, which I did. I killed an expert stalker near the army warehouses, bopped him in the head, then ran off, whilst leaving some of his pissed off friends behind him.
Оружие убрал.
Find some items, like a shotgun in the wild territory. Wipe out mutants and their nests. And on one of the easiest quests to cheat, as some quests reward some artifacts that you can get as a quest item, is to find certain artifacts. These side quests can be found in nearly every stalker camp. Some are unique depending on the quest giver, but most of them are repeated, if not in mission type, then just being repeated in general. There is also an arena in this place. Every RPG kind of game has one of these. It's a great place to get plenty of money, with 3 rounds separated into 3 tournaments, increasing in difficulty as you go up in reputation. But to be honest though, I think it just makes no sense lore-wise. I know it has some links with corruption and crime elements, but what to say an individual who survived just getting into the zone, crossed the garbage, killed bandits, and a pissed off army, only to just die in a dingy warehouse used for firefights? As you can tell, I am not a big fan of the arena. Some of these fights make no sense. Like fighting an exosuit-clad soldier with, really good weapons, and all you have is a knife and a few grenades. And after every fight, it's just a waste of a health kit because you don't get free healing, and that health kit could be better used out there in the wasteland. So for me personally, despite the monetary gains, I don't like these arenas. This song is Dirge for Planet from the Ukrainian melodic death metal band Firelink. Go further into the factory and you'll see this place. This is the base of duty, a faction dedicated to protecting the outside world from the horrors of the zone. Militant, authoritative, well armed with old Warsaw Pact weapons, this is the zone's fun police. No mutants or artifacts for the outside world. The zone needs to be destroyed. Inside the base it's nothing special, with just a few beds, a little museum of mutants cut from the game like this cat and the Chimera, and General Voronin.
Why have you come?
But we'll deal with these folks later. One of the guards keeps aiming to the side. They may look harmless, but if he pulls the trigger I'm dead. Regardless, we have some laboratories to delve into. Our first stop is the Dark Valley. If it weren't for X18 and some hopping and skipping artifacts, this place would be easily ignored. But story demands us to be here. Coming across a small duty squad, led by Bullet, we rescue another from a bandit patrol. On the way to the bandit base, a blip appears in the old fire station nearby. A wounded stalker and a pile of other corpses and blood everywhere. Time to be a hero. Ah, he's dead. There are 2 entrances into the base, one via a sewage pipe or through the front gates. I tried a sneaky approach of course, but it didn't work. So the front gate it is. Travel there, you'll hear a voice, another dutier that needs rescuing. Hang in there, Shaggy. Kick down the front door and start slaying some bandits. Find a few new artifacts along the way as well. Speaking of artifact, they provide stat buffs or debuffs to your character. Some may give increased stamina, radiation resistance, health regeneration, or resistance to certain elements. But many artifacts can also make you more vulnerable to certain elements and debuffs, or come with added radiation poisoning. It is all down to player preference, but some can make you a near demigod, as artifacts can cancel out debuffs and can add onto certain buffs as well. You'll see in the footage as my artifact layout changes over time, but they can make some sessions of Stalker either easier or harder, and you can sell them for a nice sum of money. Sell them to scientists for more bank. Near an execution pit, I find a survivor. Yasha Bureaucrat. Weird, as he was meant to be executed as part of a sequence I was meant to trigger. Guess my gung-ho way saved him, and I guess a second chance of life gave him the adrenaline and no fear, for he just legs it back into the bandit base with no weapons, just utilising Sonic the Hedgehog as his guardian angel in this time of go fast. But his blip disappears. He's dead. No! And after that amazing feat of endurance and suicidal bravery, his death shall be avenged. Keycard acquired, Shaggy freed, Borov's gang single-handedly destroyed, and Yasha Bureaucrat avenged. Time for X-18. Go into the factory, it's nothing special. More bandits squat within, but they are easily destroyed. Go on the second floor and you might find a sweet RPG, though it is extremely heavy, but it might come in useful later on if you decide to not use it now. Let's return to the underground, and I'll say it again, underground in Stalker is fucking eerie. At first, it's with the suffocating silence when you enter. Then the bodies from past expeditions giving you suggestive looks add to the creepy factor. Then the eerie ambience of crumbling stone, creaking metal and barely working lights work with the dilapidation as well. Then your vision goes weird, and boxes start flying at you. And now the zone's corruption returns in force. Consisting of 3 floors, you need to find 2 door codes to enter the main lab. There's something there, right? New mutants will begin to show their faces as well. Snorks. These gas mask animal-like beings. I hate them. Does it make me hate them more for the fact that they were meant to have guns at one point? Fuck, I hate those things. Running on all fours, jumping around and kicking you to death. Luckily, headshots kill them in one hit. Flutters of electricity glide around the ruins nonchalantly and throw rubbish at you. These pains in the asses are poltergeists. I ended up killing all 5 of them. The facility shakes. Surely isn't me, despite the diet of bread, sausage, energy drinks and vodka. Go to the storage area and the rumbling is more obvious and the source lumbers itself into view. Pseudo-giants. These monstrous beings are the toughest mutants in the game, being able to shrug off grenades and gunshots with ease, whilst using shockwave attacks to kill you. Luckily, that RPG you came across earlier may be in use at this point. You'll also find the code to the door and another RPG in that very storage room as well. The other is found in the old showers.
Excellent.
Enter the main experiments chamber, and it becomes a little clearer that this place must have made some of the mutants that haunt the zone. Rodents dead in cages, and the oversized embryo things that look like premature poltergeists. One more mutie to fight, Pyrogeist. But in a small room that you can't leave, and the constant spawning of burner anomalies, it's more annoying. But he is defeated. Weird. Very cryptic, though Strelok is mentioned. Never mind. Grab the documents near the ancient looking PCs and get the fuck out of there. The army is here. Elite forces too. And they have the place surrounded. Go to the top floor, a few grenades and some parkour, and I'm out of there. And the army is too distracted by pigs to notice me sneaking past them. I head south, but I find an interesting offer at an old pig farm.
Listen to me carefully, sucker. Have you heard the story of Robin Hood? Well, your money went to feed the poor. Forget about it. Try sticking your nose here again, and you'll be crawling back to your mommy.
Piss off while you're still alive.
And keep the change, isn't worth shit anyway. With the raid of X-18 finished, it was now time to go to Lab X-16, located near Lake Yanta. But to get to Lake Yanta, one must traverse the Wilds territory. Ironic to think that this is within the Rostock plant, next door to one of the safest places in the zone. Truly deserving of its name though. Anomalies are abundant, yet artifacts are just as such. Mutants are everywhere in this concrete jungle, and some of them might be stuck on trains. And to make things worse, mercenaries and bandits prey on those looking for the quickest path to Yantar, so firefights are a guaranteed, but also plenty of supplies. If you look around enough, you may even find Gordon Freeman and his famous Desert Eagle. I think that's a mix-up, but whatever. Try not to stand on the electro anomalies. Almost conveniently for the sake of plot, mercenaries under the control of Wolfhound are attacking the science expedition led by Kruglov. These scientists are packing heat though, shitty SA-80s, which is actually ironically one of my favourite weapons. And these mercs aren't being nice by shooting at you first, and you know they mean business when they shoot down an Mi-24. Asking for help, the Mark I makes his way through the territory, shooting mercs, wiping out Wolfhound and meeting with Kruglov. And now, you must do an escort quest.
Whatever you say, Mark 1.
And since you're going to be with the scientists, you're going to be doing this twice, so get used to it. It's not too bad, but the Wild and Yantar territories will display one of the other anomalies in the zone. I dub this one the mental switch anomaly. This anomaly just makes humans either do nothing at all, or they do something with zero fucks given, even if their life is at stake. Kruglov would do this 3 times. Firstly, seeming hesitant, reaching the end of the Wild territory before refusing to budge.
Fuck! Whatever you say, Mark 1. But you go first and I'll follow you.
This time it went better with Kruglov being far less hesitant. Hell, forcing the Mark I to scout ahead, kill, ambush and mercs because he has zero depth perception. He'll keep going until death. And in an old tunnel on the road to Yantar, after dealing with the zombies and carefully, diligently, slowly navigating my way through the burners. Kruglov just walks through fire and brimstone like he's the devil himself. Also hopes he's wearing a really good scientist suit. You can probably get one if you help the scientists. But there is a better alternative to be found later with the benefit of having body armor too. And what's your prize? You finally welcome yourself to Yantar. It's a shithole. Not just because of the constant colour of brown. If it wasn't for Barkeep's mission, there really is no reason to come here. It's swampy, there's no artifacts, it's full of zombies and more snorks, including ones that defy gravity. It is also one of the smallest maps in the game. The only reason to be here is the Scientist Bunker, home to the Ecologist faction led by Professor Sakharov.
Hello? Hello.
And to help them understand and neutralize the source of the Psi mission in the Yantar for a Psi protection helmet needed for the X-16 raid. Once again, you are forced to babysit Kruglov as he measures Psi missions and you defend him from zombies. And like I said before, this is the 3rd time, but he seems more enthusiastic with fighting the many zombies this time. First reading goes okay.
Okay. We'll up the scale, but the radiation is normal.
Second reading...
The temperature seems to have gone off scale. Mark 1, we need to get deeper inside. I can't make out anything in here.
Third read... Oh, shit. Fuck.
Imminent blowout! Run, Mark 1! Hell is about to break loose! Ah!
Fang, we can't just leave him like that.
Just leave him. There is nothing we can do for him. The blowout is minutes away and we won't get through with him.
No, Fang, I'm not leaving him.
But at least you got the readings.
We've got to get out of here quick. I've got the measurements now. We just need to get back to the bunker.
Big! Hurrah! Big!
Hello?
Here are the results.
Hello?
Here, and here. Couldn't be any more accurate.
Alright, let me adjust the prototype.
With the readings taken, the Psi helmet provides maximum protection. If you decide to do it after Kruglov's death, it only gives half protection, so yeah. Keep Kruglov alive, you'll get full benefits from it. Now, it's time to clear out the old factory. A macabre place befitting of Yantar, not just because of the ceaseless brown. Bodies from the past battles litter the place. Zombified stalkers shamble aimlessly and just snorks. Fucking hate snorks. Although the battle seems easy enough, but another issue appears more obvious when you progress further. That is, there is no armor or weapon repair systems. Although on my run I have enough medical supplies to become a traveling doctor, weapons and armor degrade so quickly, especially against more powerful mutants and high-powered weapons becoming more and more commonplace. So here's my advice. Be ready to swap, drop, and change gear on the fly. Be mindful of your weight limits though. I didn't in this run, and with the stalkers dropping their armor all over the place like it's a nudist colony, you'll be sure to find some somewhere. Like this one-off Beryl 9M armor with added self-healing, one of the best in the game. Also, this turns out to be a quest item, but shh, it's mine now. It will be needed as X16 is underground, and if the surface is this fucked up, the underground is not much better. And it isn't. Guess all those corpses and blood added a very inviting and friendly vibe. I'm sure I'll be able to run that off. This is very linear. The denizens of this place will make this place one of the tougher levels to fight through, fighting through a legion of zombies and stabbing boxes for ammunition and medical goodies. Marked 1 reaches the main rotunda before a countdown begins.
Attention. Critical emissions. Leave the area immediately.
Now a hard fight begins. Exposed and having to climb 3 floors full of zombified stalkers, and trying to make it on time before your brain turns to mush. You need to go to 3 control modules on each section of the floor. It also doesn't help that they can tank a bit of damage, and the gun accuracy in this game is fucking terrible. Seriously, even with scopes attached, I barely hit anything until my 29th shot, causing me to fire wildly into the pelvis, penis, torso, arm, then a killing headshot. And that's me taking my time with my shots. You are better off not aiming down the sights sometimes. In fact, it's accurate to just aim from the hip. Arm on the constant frantic firing also damages your gun. This isn't the last time gun issues will occur in my run. But anyways, go to the main control room and switch off the main source of the emissions. And it's a goddamn brain in the jar. Now to do another sissy thing and black out again.
If this is so important, why didn't you explain what you are going there for? And where did you get this photo from?
If you only knew where I've just been and what I saw.
One day you'll finish badly, Strelak. Hold on, son. You're going to make it. Where will you go now?
To the north.
Get the hell out of there, but the familiar sound hits our earballs again. Controller. Fuck their psychic energy. And there is Ghost, the contact Marked 1 has been pursuing, but his PDA gives us 2 contacts to follow up on. Guide and Doc. Rest in peace, Ghost. And once more through the sewers, and more snorks and zombies fall to my guns. Helicopters overhead fire missiles into what is left of the old factory, though I swear I killed everything on the surface there. And remember what I said about watching your carrying limit? Well, this is why. Despite that brown trousering moment, it was worth it. We got the documents, a free side protection helmet ready for the brain scorcher, 2 other contacts to find, the Strelok guy, and we made friends with the scientists. All's well that ends well, but I have one more side quest to do first. Actually 2 more. Heading back to the cordon for one final time. We meet the guide near the old farmhouse where Fox was saved, which seems like so long ago now. Well, that was a quick quest. Back to Strelok's base.
Hey, Strelok! Strelok, come on, man, wake up! Oh, this better. You had me worried. What the hell are you doing, man? Have you lost your memory or something? You were the one who suggested that we take this precaution. Oh well, at least you're still alive. Look, Strelok, we've got no time, so I need you to listen to me. Everything you have said about the monolith is true. All of it. It is just an illusion manufactured in a lab next to the sarcophagus. And nobody who reached the monolith has ever come back. It looks like they have died there. But anyway, while you're away, I dug up some more info. And basically, there is a decoder to open the door which leads to the monolith controls. And this decoder is hidden in a stash in Pripyat. Now I am going to give you the coordinates of this stash, and I'm giving you the key to open it. I want you to take the decoder, and I want you to find the door in the sarcophagus. And then you'll know what to do. But it seems that this is the only way of uncovering the zone's real secret. This is the one you have been trying to work out, Strelok.
Well, a revelation. We, as in he, is the Strelok. Shit. All that walking, shooting, talking, and reloading to find ourselves. Now a few more questions become more obvious. What experiments is this old geezer flapping his jaw about? Why and who tasked us to kill ourselves? And what the hell is this loot in Pripyat, even though that place is cut off from the brain scorcher? Well, that'll have to wait. Duty is a calling. Yeah, Duty once marked one's attention due to his latest adventures. Let's see what the fun police want. I'll call you back. And since it's on the way to the brain scorcher, let's see this freedom group that Duty talks in the tone like they're the boogeyman.
Hush! Quiet, man.
Hey! Hey, Stalker! Open up! Freedom territory.
Got what they deserved. Done with these fellas.
Did you know they were at war? And since this is the first time Freedom is seen in the game at all, and they get attacked not far from their base, and Freedom never did this to Duty at Rostock, it comes off as a bit shitty. I'ma tell on you. And immediately there is a clear distinction between Freedom and Duty. But look at their armour. Very loud. Inspired from Ukraine's colourful history of anarchism, from the Zaporizhian Cossacks to the Revolutionary Insurgent Army of Ukraine led by Nestor Ivonyat Makhnov. Though considered hippies and anarchists by most stalkers, and yes, they like their drugs, a pack of marijuana for every soldier. These fuckers are vicious fighters, and they have some of the best NATO weapons to boot. The fact they have the army warehouses at all is a sign of power, as they are one of the most powerful factions in the zone, alongside Duty. Freedom is also ideological opponents to Duty. Whereas Duty wants to destroy and deny the cool things in the zone, Freedom seeks to open up the zone's secrets to the outside world, both in information and the treasures found. If Duty wants a fight, let's oblige. Total cash. Meet the squad leader Max, who looks very out of place amongst Freedom.
Come up here. Just why does it happen to be wrong?
And gather the men to fight the Duty dogs. This fight would take 2 attempts to wipe this squad out. Some extremely mobile Duty in exoskeleton armour, the heaviest and one of the best armours in the game, which you can't sprint in. Sprinted past, reloaded nonchalantly, and then bopped me in the head with one shot with an OTS-14. Shit! They're dead.
Sissies.
And with no freedom losses as well. Such a great performance that Lukash has 2 more tasks for the Marked One. The first one, and what would become a freedom cliche in the next games, is to deal with a snitch at a nearby farm. On the way there, do you remember that assassination mission from the Marked One's first visit to Rostock? My target's friend is still pissed off, so angry he fires a shotgun at range from the top of the hill, screaming profanities and makes in every shot. And I found a bloodsucker who is apparently my friend. Kill the snitch and his mercenary reinforcements and get your reward, and then go to the barrier to the north bordering the Brain Scorcher. Go to the cap and take your place amongst its defenders. Looks like Freedom and any random volunteer is doing the main job that Duty likes to puff his chest out about. Defended civilization from the horrors of the zone. Be it mutants, but this time, the horror is Monolith. Many upon many Monolith soldiers, heavily armed and armoured, devoted to some alien artifact called the Monolith, and holding it in a divine reverence. This faction sees all people as the enemy, and for a faction in an inaccessible part of the zone, there are so many of them. Maybe getting the numbers from those missing in the zone or from failed expeditions. They hate the Marked One, they are the enemy, and they must die. The wave of Monolith ends, and plenty of loot to be had. And for a heavy attack, we only lost 2 fighters. Don't matter though, we held the line, and in Freedom's good books now. Not much to do here, with pockets filled with everything to keep you alive and unalive others, but there is one more lonesome road to take. For being in the Red Forest, it's very grey, and brown, and full of ghosts, and being the main road leading towards the Brain Scorcher, Monolith will make a stand here. This place is linear, radioactive, and guarded by die-hard zealots with some of the best weaponry in the game, so to call it a gauntlet would be an understatement. There isn't much cover here either, unless you like hiding behind radioactive debris and running across the occasional radioactive hotspot. You are forced to keep moving, although in very brief moments of respite you will find a place to lay low, collect yourself, and maybe find some loot worth taking. And with Monolith taking the high ground, they'll use snipers and a couple of RPGs.
Horse manure!
Reaching the crossroads with the right-hand road leading to Pripyat. Going straight ahead leads to the Brain Scorcher itself. You'll know you're close when red barrels roll down and explode and apparitions of mutants begin invading your space. Well, here it is. The Brain Scorcher, the myth, the one thing blocking access to a potential treasure trove of artifacts, information, and free real estate for the factions. Utilising an old over-the-horizon early warning system known officially as Dugger 3, though many people would know it under the names of Chernobyl 2 or the Woodpecker for its distinguished sharp tapping sound picked up by radio amateur operators. This place is properly just as famous as the power plant and the fairground in Pripyat itself. And Dugger 3 has had plenty of Cold War conspiracies around it as well, perfect for this game's setting of pseudoscience and post-Soviet fuckery. From in real-world brainwashing projects, to supposed sabotage of the CNPP to cover up the radar's design faults. Fight through the decrepit military installation and maybe get stuck because you were carrying too much stuff on you and ran out of stamina, so forcing you to fight in one place with barely enough stamina to move and pray to the gods and the devil for Monolith to miss their shots. And survive! The main place you need to go to is the train tunnel. Go into the tunnels and once more, underground into another abandoned laboratory. Legions of Monolith are ready to die to your G36C. Fight your way to the main control unit, turn off the Scorcher, and then do another sissy move again, as you have one more vision.
What you want is here, Stalker. Come.
Steve Blum, now for the hard part. Getting out, with more Monolith fighters hiding in the many corners you walked past before. Sometimes, they may even walk past you as if you were wearing a stealth suit, until you don't anymore. This, for me, was probably one of the hardest bits of the game. It will take me nearly 6 attempts to pass. But once you've passed this gauntlet of more Monolith fighters and reached the surface, up top, Pandora's box has been opened. A battle royale and a general rush to the centre of the zone by all factions has commenced, and skirmishes between Freedom and Duty squads kick to start another war. Only one more road to take. Look at this place. 50,000 people used to live in this city. Now it's a ghost town, and it's also a goddamn war zone. And for the big city, every stalker considers holy ground for artifacts and other nice things. You only play in a small section of Pripyat. If you look upon a Pripyat street map, you start on Lenin Avenue on the PO5 leading to the city centre where the famous Policia Hotel and the Culture Palace Energetics stand. Then up the 2 roads on either Lazareva Street or Kurchatov Street, with a shortcut cutting through Lenin Komsomol Alley where the famous fairground rusts away, then going northwards towards Embankment Street towards the end point at Avangard Stadium. A football stadium never used by the city's football team at the time, FC Stroitel Pripyat. It's not the most accurate depiction of this part of Pripyat, with the main area being far more compacted than in real life, and some places being removed entirely, but the way it is set up is pretty damn close. Now, not to get my geographical knickers in a twist, let's get on with the firefight. Meeting with a squad of exoskeleton loners on Lenin Avenue.
You must be the marked one.
We are to fight towards an underground car park near the Culture Palace. The only things that stands between the marked one and the CNPP is the Monolith Legions and the squad's insistence of staring at buildings. And on this starting area, I had to restart this section nearly 6 times for different reasons. Here's what works. Scout ahead, snipe spawn in Monolith, and shoot at all windows within the facility where your squad is aiming flaccidly at.
Take this, shithead!
Manage to pass the strong defense, then you advance towards the underground car park where your squad seems to fight better. Parting ways, we fight onwards towards the Culture Palace, with many high-rise apartments on all sides and wide open spaces. Watch out for snipers, and a new weapon that can bring the fear of the gods into any stalker, the Gauss rifle. And even though this level is semi-linear, there really isn't much to gain from exploration. With only a few artifacts of note, buildings just being ruined husks with nothing in them, and a high level of Monolith fighters, the level seems to be subtly pushing you towards your objectives. Go to the Policia Hotel and find Strelok's stash in room 26 with plenty of treasures awaiting you. The military armoured suit, SCAT 9M military armoured suit. One of the best armors in the game outside the exoskeleton suit, for it is near perfect protection against radiation, anomalies and projectiles, and a lockpick made specifically for one door in the CNPP. Let's visit the Culture Palace. One of over 137,000 built across the former Soviet Empire, Energetic is now an outpost for Monolith fighters. And I have heard that trying to clear it out is a waste of ammunition. That may be, but not for the marked one who came fully prepared. From foyer to old cinema where a few Monolith are entranced by a weird effigy. All are easy targets. After that, there's nowhere else to go but the heart of Chernobyl itself. Heading towards the Avangard Stadium. This can be a playable area if you enter via the side entrances, but if you don't, you get treated to see what the stadium has stagnated to. An anomaly-ridden hellscape filled with twister anomalies, downed helicopters, mutants strutting like they own the place, until they walk into an anomaly, and Monolith sentries firing RPGs. But now one last place remains. And there's no better here in the Chernobyl power plant either, and get used to seeing this place, for this place is difficult, where all your stalker knowledge culminates here, and you will be here for the last few hours of the game, counting the many deaths that will happen. Snipers, helicopters, anomalies, RPGs, Monolith soldiers, and the map layout itself will be your main enemy, with high elevations and enclosed spaces making crossfire possible. Pro Stalker tip now. Stick to the right-hand side nearest to the power plant. No one will shoot at you except some scattered Monolith fighters. Smooth sailing, right? No! One more threat to add to the chaos. Blowouts. Releases a powerful psychic energy that has the power to melt minds, make once safe areas anomalous, and twist nature into nightmarish horrors, as well as making sleep near impossible in the zone. Once a potential feature cut from the game, to be later added in pretty much every following game, this is the only time you'll encounter this in the game. It does make you panic and rush for cover though, since you only got 4 minutes. Run, Marked One, run. Run into the very grey and claustrophobic bowels under Reactor 4. And where some of the most tedious firefights will take place. The corridors hide many Monolith fighters using some of the most powerful weapons in the game. But in these catacombs, you'll finally get your mitts on your own Gauss rifle, a slow rate of fire yet with fantastic range and very high damage, a great sniper rifle alternative, but scrounge for batteries for they are limited in supply. But on top of surviving the firefight, radiation is a considerable concern. I mean, obviously you're in the ruined power plant, so be sure to be stocked on anti-radiation pills, vodka, and the right artifacts that can make radiation a trivial matter. In fact, on screen, this is my second attempt here. My first attempt was an absolute disaster. My radiation suit wasn't adequate enough, and even though stocked to the gills with anti-rad pills, I was popping them every 15 seconds between popping shots at the monolith alongside being shot. So on my second attempt, I was better prepared. Better artifacts for radiation protection as seen on the lower left. 2 weapons for backup, even if it impedes my stamina regen. And I can't add it to my second weapon slot, which is really annoying, and I have cheap armor and an NBC suit on standby. Through more monolith patrols, using the corners to my advantage over monolith campers behind doors, and wiping out the holdout force single-handedly. The way to the wish granter is open. Or we could find the real source of the zone's existence. Now I want to make a wish. Have you children heard the tale of the monolith? You see, in the centre of the zone stands the nuclear power plant. Many have tried to reach it, and almost all of them have failed. Their ambitions were mountains of artifacts and gold, and anything else their greedy minds could think of. But their ideas had a reason. They all had heard and tried to get to the place most sacred to the monolith bastards. They all tried to get to the wish granter, a being or a place, only God knows what it is, in the plant that can grant you your wildest wishes. Mountains of artifacts, eternal glory, fame, hills of money, immortality, everything. Possibilities a man couldn't spend in a lifetime. All the wish granter grants in return is a small payment, but what it is, children, I'll leave you to find out. And within reactor number 4, with Geiger counter screaming at us to get the hell out of there, yet no radiation poisoning affected him, rests the wish granter, this ominous obelisk. Even before getting here, you may have heard an imposing yet invasive voice beseeching you to approach it.
Иди ко мне. Ты обретешь то, что заслуживаешь. Твое желание скоро исполнится. Иди ко мне. Путь завершен, человек. Иди.
Got quite annoying after a while. If you decide to make a wish, you'll get 5 possible endings depending on the amount of money you have, your reputation, and certain people being alive or dead. See, reputation does mean something in this game. Anyway, I'm going to make my wish.
I want to be rich.
Every ending is a monkey paws type of ending, with each one being corrupted in some way. Clever, yet kinda sad, especially the good false ending. With that though, why was my ending more money? I already had over 50,000 rubles. Fuck this, I want to know the truth of the zone. Ignoring the voice and wondering where the hell it is. It's here, by the way. More narrow corridors, monolith fighters, and a defense for 30 seconds as you use the electronic lockpick to open the door. One more maze. Several more monolith full before the marked one arrives in a strange room with an equally strange circular thing. Large bulbs circle it, and after wondering what the hell to do, shooting them seems to work. But keep moving. Pyrogeist will try to kill you as you try to destroy all the bulbs. But if you survive and shoot all the bulbs, The hologram is seen and talks to you whilst bringing some truths to light.
We are the result of an experiment aimed at creating a super consciousness called sea consciousness. The consciousnesses of 7 volunteers were connected during the experiment, leading to the creation of the super consciousness that is us. Our main goal was to make small adjustments to the noosphere, allowing us to remove things like anger, cruelty, greed, and other negative factors from the planet. What you see is the result of ill-considered intervention in the Earth's noosphere. Attempts to affect the noosphere brought about a local crack. The zone is simply the visible manifestation of this crack. You're a bolt that fell out of the machine. Unfortunately, that did not come to our attention for a long time. From the moment the zone was formed, many people have tried to get to its center, but we cannot let that happen. Humanity is not ready for the truth. That is why we recruited stalkers by promising them the fulfillment of their most coveted desires. Once recruited, they would be sent to protect the zone's secret. That depends on you. The zone is growing. We are trying to restrain its expansion, but humanity seems to be intent on hindering our work. Our resources are not limitless, and the bodies connected to sea consciousness eventually die. If you join us, we can restrict the zone's growth.
Now faced with either joining or destroying them, I decide to follow the established ending and go full caveman on these pseudo-scientists. Now for the final battle of Chernobyl. Pass 15 teleporters and fight through a gauntlet of more monolith soldiers. But the end game is in sight, so let's see it through to the end. Say hi to Sidorovich along the way.
Marked one! What the hell?
And see the feather fall anomaly in its only appearance. I'll admit, this part was very boring. It's a long, linear gauntlet of rooftop shootouts around the Chernobyl power plant, only interrupted with a death from an RPG or ambushing monolith waiting around the corner. After going against endless waves of fighters in Pripyat and wiping out so many to the point of being a walking natural disaster, this segment just gets grating with wave upon wave upon wave of monolith. But upon the final teleporter, more monolith fighters appear and unleash a gauntlet of lead to stop you from entering the final teleporter. Luckily, I have enough bandages and wrapped myself to victory. And with that, the end game is complete.
I don't know whether I was right or wrong. I guess I'll never know. But I made it. And I guess I should be thankful for that.
And here are the credits. But for some reason the surnames are a little cursed. Anyways, let's wrap this shit up. And that, my subjects, was the feature presentation on my latest conquest on STALKER Shadow of Chernobyl. Hell of a broadcast, huh? But with so many things to talk about and so many things that can't be discussed but seen for yourselves, I think it was kind of necessary, but I think it was worth it. And of course, I very highly, absolutely recommend this game. Hell, even the sequels, even Clear Sky, those I will conquer at some point in the future. With the very inspired setting in one of the most interesting places in the world, throwing a mixture of horror and pseudoscience, the almost siren call of guitar and the melodic soundtrack that subdues the horrors of the zone and safe havens for a while, only for the ambience to become more sinister and harrowing as you enter the wastelands of the zone. And of course, the fantastic mixture of gameplay genres that make STALKER beloved by many. Grounded combat, which is enhanced further with the crisp sound design, the light role-playing elements, the light survival gameplay, and the horror that can make you jump out of your skin. Just be aware of some of the anomalies present, and the harsh difficulty that accompanies this game. But in my most august opinion, that also makes STALKER even more engaging and makes it more fitting to the themes and attitudes of the series. So yeah, if you haven't played it, you can get it for only 10 Groschen on both GOG and Steam on PC, as well as the Legends of the Zone for other consoles/machines. Well worth it if you ask me. Now that that's out of the way, I'll be going back to 1944 and see D-Day through a squad leader's eyes, and one of his friends / corporals. Also, it is in my most august opinion that this is also one of the more underrated World War II games / stories out there. What is it? Well, stay tuned and find out. So until next time, this is the Warlord, signing out.